Good evening, family. This video is a long time coming, very personal, and I struggled for a while to even discuss it, but I am definitely going to discuss. Pardon me. I'm definitely going to discuss this evening the gift and the curse of being spiritually ordained, having a spiritual gift, being chosen, because it's been a long road for me. I don't want to say too much because I'm definitely going to write a tell all book on my journey, but I wanted to get this off my chest. I knew, okay, here goes nothing. In short, I knew from a child I was different. And it wasn't because I was too young to even know what spirituality, Jesus, the Bible, religion was at this, in my childhood. I didn't become aware of an entity or a person or a being powerful enough to have had created the sun, the moon, the stars, the earth, the animals, Adam. I didn't become fully aware of that concept until I was really about 15, 16 years old. And I became aware of that concept by way of hearing a choir sing. But I knew I was different before I even got into understanding that concept, right? Because I was very, very athletically inclined. I was very, very in tune with being just a physical force to be reckoned with. There was nothing physical that anybody could challenge me with that I wouldn't achieve. Like meaning like as a cheerleader, dancer, track and field, physically I was just always just super dope. And then I'm not tooting my own horn. It just is it was what it was, right? Um, Fast forward 15, 16, I started catching a bus to church. Um, and about half an hour away from where I lived by myself. Parents didn't come. They didn't go. They didn't, they weren't with me during this time. Although, my mom did her best. My mom did her best to, my mom did her best to, keep me in church, things like that, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward, um, in middle school, high school, I didn't know, I was always bullied. I was always bullied in middle school and high school, and I didn't know why. Um, I didn't even think that it was because I was physically inclined. Like I was always good at, athletics and things like that. That was the furthest from my mind because what I was bullied for was the way I looked. My gap teeth, my dark skin, skinny. I wasn't like one of the pretty light skinned girl. You know what I mean? The fast. I wasn't one of those girls, but I was always given the label as like the fast girl, and but I was ugly. Like I was always called ugly. Like it was just like the weirdest thing to me. So through being bullied, I developed this personality of being coy and being standoffish. Basically, I dummied down because I learned very, very fast. And this is why I wasn't very, very like boastful as a kid. I learned very fast to dummy down because um, it in a way it allowed me to avoid being bullied. I was the kid in high school that was locked in their locker. The girls wore like during a swim class, instead of the girls putting on their swimsuit, to, go into swim class. They wore the clothes that I wore to school in the pool for some swim class. I was the one that was called the whore because the guys, for whatever reason, just wanted me, blah, 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 blah. Right? So I went through hellified torments in middle school. I was even, um, I was even denied the opportunity to walk across the stage um, for graduation because one of my own family members copied my paper, okay, in history class because she knew that the history teacher didn't like me and favor me because I told him this fucking this social studies book is a lie and you're teaching a lie. Basically, I said in class in front of all the students, this shit is bullshit. Because my grandmother was Native Indian, you know what I mean, and it just this shit didn't add up in the book, in the history book. But this relative took advantage, of the opportunity, knowing that the history teacher didn't like me, stole my end of the year assignment. The social studies teacher gave her the opportunity to um, redo her assignment, hand hers in, and never told me or gave me the opportunity. She was able to walk across the stage. I didn't. I mean, I went through some shit. Okay. Um, then, I was so sick and fed up. It was even so bad that I was the dopest athletically that the coaches would not allow any team that I was a part of to have a captain or co-captain because they didn't want the other teammates to feel inferior. Knowing damn well, like, and I just was like, yo, it just didn't make none of it made sense to me, and I just didn't understand why. And from a very, very young age, I was able to, like, I'll never forget. My uncle came to me at what I had to be like 13 years old, and asked me if he should marry a woman. I thought that was strange, and I said, yeah, go for it. But like I was always like my parents used to always tell me, "Shut up, you're lying, stop." They would always tell me I was lying. I was a lie. They always made me feel like I was a liar, and I was like, "But I'm not lying." You know what I mean? It was like the most fucked up life I had ever. I would never wish my life on anybody. You know what I mean? Then like even family members would come to me and ask me advice as a kid, and like I'm a kid. Like, why are you asking me? But okay, if you want to know the answer or how I feel, this is what I had no idea at such a young age I had a gift, and I didn't realize that. Okay, let me keep moving forward. So, um, I excelled very, very highly in high school and middle school, things like that. And then once I knew I couldn't walk across the stage, I was like, F this, I'm leaving the city. Like, I hate everybody here. You know what I mean? Like, it was just absolute torture. I ran away. And, well, first I went to my aunt and uncle's house to help them, because they had just opened a beauty salon, beauty store. So to help them with that, because I was always, doing hair in the basement and this, that, and the other, for the girls in high school and stuff like that. Because although I was bullied and tormented, there was, I always had a crew of girls that I rocked with that really rocked with me. Like, we would do pep rallies together, performances at the pep rally. I created a drill team called Rather Unique. And, they roll with me. I brought them to championships, most outstanding, best captain, all of that. And but it just none of that like pacified or put kept the band-aid on the pain and the torture that I experienced throughout my childhood. So when I had the opportunity to leave and never come back, I did just that. So i I left and went to New York City um at age 17, right after, because in order for me, like for me to get my diploma, I had to go to summer school. I went to summer school. And it's so crazy because even now to this day, like the kids I went to school with feel like, oh, just chuck it up, da, 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 like get over it, and well, you should have did better, like, but everybody knew what happened and what was going. Everybody knew, and still to this day, they writing it out like, yo, like this shit is fucked up, like still to this day, like when if I bring it up, they like, oh, well, get over it, like really. Anyway, so I got to New York City and it was the most liberating. Like I was able to finally be myself. Um, I was finally able to make friends and become who I am today. So, for the last 20 years, well, not last, but for 20 years, I lived in New York City. I excelled once again. But then, there was always always someone or a few people that would always just try to do shit to ruffle my feathers. And I couldn't understand why. And I got engaged. Well, right before I got engaged, I started experiencing like I lost my baby. I was pregnant and I lost a baby. Um, uh, and I had to have a cesarean. Not a mother. A lot like the baby didn't make it or whatever. But in 2003, and in that losing the baby, the morning that I woke up from the emergency surgery, a nun came in and she was crying. She said, sweetheart, what God has, the message God has for you, I don't have the heart to tell you. You're blessed and highly favored. The next person that's going to come in behind me will be able to express to you what God wants you to know. So, being that I was almost pronounced dead, and the doctor called my mom on the phone while she was operating on me and said, "You better get to New York City, or you're not never gonna see your daughter alive again." Um, I woke up from, the surgery, and my aunt and my best friend was there, and my mom. And when the nurse came in, I said, me and my mom looked at each other like, what? And then the nun went out in the hallway where my aunt and uncle were, and the nun must have, I don't know what the nun said to them, but they came in the room crying, wailing. My aunt and uncle, like whatever the nun said, but I know what the nun said at this point, but now today, but then it was a monk. He walked in the room with a potato sack on and a rope, literally. And he sat down. He said, "You're going to be one of the most." He said, "What do you want to be in life?" And I said, "Well, I want to be my version of Janet Jackson because I was like this dope ass dancer from like 3 years old, you know, all the way up to like, my senior. Well, no, actually, in my like late 20s, I owned a dance company in New York City. Um, I was just super dope. So I just wanted to be, I wanted to show my talent off. And he looked at me, he said, "Well, I can tell you that you're going to be one of the most sought after people in the world for what you do." And I said, "Ooh," I was excited. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to be Dia and, my version of Janet and this and the other, Leo." And, he left. Now, my mom was sitting there when all this happened. And before he left, I said, "Well, when is this going to happen?" He was like, 10 years from now, you'll know. You'll know exactly what this is about, why you're here, why I'm here speaking to you. You will know. Boom. So, I'm going through life, and I'm still like this moment in the hospital was so traumatizing because I was dying, and when I was in the ER before the surgeons came in and said, "You're losing your baby," I'm wailing in the emergency room, and the nurse is like, "Oh, she's on crack, she's on drugs, and let her cry. Don't give her any medicine to kill the pain." She like, I mean, they were horrible people. Cabrini Hospital in Manhattan, I'll never forget. But fast forward 10 years later, actually 7 years later, I met my ex-fiance. 10 years later, and 3 years after that, which will make 10 years, things start going downhill between me and him. I lost our baby, and I lost something else very significant to that as well. But it really started to hit me that's when God yanked me, and God started okay, now I'm about to reveal to you who you are, what your assignment is. I mean, the spiritual journey that I had been on all my life was a lot. But when it got to that point, um, in 2013, from 2003, with my ex fiance, I was holding on to him so bad. Like, I just did not want to fail at being a fiance, and I didn't want to fail at, eventually being a wife, being a mother, the American dream, right? So, so crazy because it's really crazy because I found out he started acting weird in our relationship, and he started I started, he was doing construction, but I started a construction company by way of working with another construction company. They one of the owners wanted out, so I bought in. And then once my ex fiance realized how well I was doing, he quit his day job, which was for a billionaire, Silver Lining Interiors in Manhattan, and came to work with me. And I thought we were going to be, we was going to kill it. But he was jealous of me. He wanted things done his way. And, me being a spiritual person and with spiritual gifts, when I see something, when God shows me something, it has to be that way, no other way. So, started the construction company. I lost a baby with him. Things started going downhill, and God yanked me and started like really, really showing me spiritually what my assignment was. It was profound because um, at that point in my relationship with my ex, I didn't understand why he was doing weird things. Like he was the first person that, although I had gone a psychic several times, called one, like, I was nine, no, how old was me and my best friend? I think we were like 11 years old. I called the psychic hotline because I wanted to know if I was going to be the next Janet Jackson at like 11 years old, and ran my mom's telephone bill up to $900. Like, me and a psychic hotline, I was engaging in that since I was a kid. But that's not what God was trying to show me, right? Um, Ironically, I was searching for something that was in myself. Hold on one second, guys. So, by the time I had gone through what I went through, and God started yanking me regarding, my relationship with my ex, he was the first person that actually gave me my first tarot card deck. And when he brought it in the house, I was appalled because he was quote unquote a God fearing man. He was like, "You should use these, give it a shot." It just was like the weirdest, strangest, oddest thing for him to do. Fast forward, you know, um, he started doing things like leaving like cards or phone numbers that he would get from females that he was dealing with. And it was this one phone number that stuck out. Hold on one second, guys. I want to make sure I'm in a quiet, private place because I'm in a house full of eavesdroppers and things like that. But there was just one phone number that stood out. So fast forward, I called this phone number. This was with my ex fiance, and the girl who answered the phone, you can tell that she was from an island or something like that. She told me she was from Trinidad. Cool, whatever. So I said, well, are you dealing with my, fiance? I'm engaged and this, that, and the other. Yeah, but, oh, I feel so sorry for you because he really doesn't want to be with you and he feels sorry for you, da, da, da. So I said, well, what's your name? And for the life of me, when she said her name, I couldn't pronounce it. Now, this is before she became famous. She said, my name is Belcalis. And I said, what? Who? She was like, Belcalis. And I said, what? She said, just call me Alexis. So I said, okay, cool. Alexis, no problem. Lo and behold, this was like 2014. Lo and behold, like 4 years later, there's a girl that comes on. Now, when that happened, his cousin's baby mama came over and she was trying to get me to go to auditions at Love and Hip Hop and stuff like that. And I was just like, I'm not in it. You can't buy my story for no pennies. Like my life story is worth trillions. You understand what I'm saying? So Love and Hip Hop can't afford me on their platform to some, to just, my presence is no. You're going to have to pay me $1 million an hour. That's just it. So, from that, here we go. Fast forward, me and my ex. I'm not even going to get into how we broke up because that's just going to have to be a part of the story. But it's a big thing. But lo and behold, now you got, we moved out of our Brooklyn, our house in Brooklyn, and now we living in Jersey. And when he left, that's when Cardi B became really, really relevant. And then the world found out when the world found out her real name was Belcalis, that's when I found out who she was and who I was talking to on the phone. Blew my mind. I was floored. Then I started doing the math and I figured everything out. Boom. When we moved to Jersey and I found everything out, I had death in the family. I went to go see about that. Long story short, my ex, he didn't want to come up and see about a house that I was investing in for us. He ended up, flying his ex baby mama, who wasn't really her baby mama. She lied and said that their son, who was 16 at the time, was his son. It wasn't really his. He left me to go be with her, high and dry. And the shit that happened in between all of this is like you guys would want to fight people for me. But anyway, back to my spiritual journey. When he left, I kind of swept the whole Cardi B under the rug. I swept all it. Like, I just was like, I just needed to get my life back. God was telling me, go, I had to find a church home. I needed to find a church home, this, that, and the other. But I had to find a way to make money because I had given up all of my employees for the construction company after my ex had came to work with me, because he was like, oh, you don't need these guys working for me. I can do all the jobs for these guys. I can work circles around these guys. So in order to accommodate his feelings, I fired every guy that I had and allowed him to run the show as a foreman on each job. That was a wrong move because when he left me, I didn't have none of my guys to work for me. So now I had to figure out how to make money. And the only thing I had that, like, God just said, pick up the tarot deck. And that's how this channel was created in Jersey. God said, I'm going to show you, I'm going to lead you and guide you. You just have to do it my way. So God showed me how to use the tarot and use it accurately. And I kid you not, I was reading tarot for about 3 months on this channel, and I was like up to 1,000 views per video in 2016 within 30 days on each zodiac. And it scared the shit out of me because it dawned, and then because within that 30 days, God said, you don't need these. This is just a tool for you to train, for you to develop who you really are, so that when the time it comes, you'll know how to judge. You'll know how to see. You'll know right from wrong. Da da da. And it blew me away how much people would spend their money just to hear me speak to them, like just to hear from God through me. It was scary to me to have people call in and spend $800 within 3 hours. I felt bad. I just couldn't do it. And that's why I've been I haven't really been doing any reads because to hear from God is free, and I think that you just gotta want to hear from the Most High. And believe me, it's not easy to hear from the Most High, and it's not easy to receive what you hear from the Most High when you hear from the Most High, because the Most High is harsh. I mean, the truth, the Most High is just so, he's honest, he's true. He, like, there's no sugarcoating anything. Okay, so back, before all of this had happened, and when I begged God, please let me, I literally begged God, let me be your vessel. Use me. I want you to use me, please. When I was losing my baby in that hospital, crawling across the floor, wailing, I said, God, let me please be your vessel. I will do your work. I promise you, I will honor you. Please give me a chance to fulfill my assignment. And here I am, right? I say all this to say it's a gift and a curse, because I've lived all my life. My family knew, okay, about my gift. And they have been suppressing it. Even, when the monk came in the hospital and said X, Y, and Z, and my mom's sitting right there. She still to this day said, "Oh, I can't remember." They try to suppress it. And and this is why it's a curse, because they try to suppress it. It's like, if I knew, they don't want me, they're hoping, and they've been hoping all these years, that I didn't realize who I am and how powerful I am and how special I am to God. Because if I figured it out, I would no longer be a benefit to them. That's the curse. Every last one of my family members, every last one. Do you know how heartbreaking that is, to be around people who you're supposed to love and they're supposed to love you, and they know something so deep and powerful about you that they actually try to suppress it? They actually call you crazy. They actually call you a liar, knowing that you are the most honest and truthful person that they could probably almost come across in their entire life. It's heartbreaking. And it brings me to pure anger, thinking about how these people who are supposed to love me and be family could really, like, it's almost like, how selfish can you be? Do you not realize how much pain you guys are actually the reason why I'm having this pain? Well, as a matter of fact, my ex-fiance, when he left, he said, if you really want to know what's going on, you should ask your family. And I've been telling my family, what kind of secret are you guys hiding from me? This is even before me and my ex even met, my ex-fiance. You guys are hiding something from me. I used to always say it. And the secret was, they were hiding me from me. They would like, I literally to this day can call plays and scores and on any football, basketball game. I could, like, literally, you understand? And they will sit there and ignore it and act like it never happened. Won't open their mouth, discuss it, nothing. And it dawned on me today. This is why I'm recording this, is because it dawned on me today that how selfish, how painful, that they don't realize the pain that they've been causing me. Me living with this gift and not knowing, and God says trust no man, and of course God wants us to only rely on him. But to not even have support, mental, spiritual support of people that know you have this gift and have been trying to suppress it all your life. And they've been trying to suppress it for their own advantage. You know what my father said to me? All I want is $10 million to give my brother and sister-in-laws and my brothers and sisters, so when I die, they'll be straight. But he said it in a way where he felt like, I know you can come up with the winning numbers. Why don't you give me the winning numbers? He actually is so damn selfish, even though I love him, that he'd rather push away a man who loves me, cause turmoil in between me and someone that we're both in love with each other and want to be with each other, right? And keep me in the palm of his hands for his own benefit. And he actually thinks I'm gonna give him some damn winning lottery numbers. I'm gonna tell you something. This is how when the Bible says trust no man, trust no man. I wouldn't dare use my gift for no bullshit like that, especially when you have been tormenting me by trying to suppress me realizing who I am. And I'm not just it's not just my father, it's my mother, it's my aunt, it's my uncles, my cousins, it's everybody. Everybody knew and knows. And it's like, wow. I've been living with this anxiety torment. Why am I going through this? How did I know that? Why do I have the gift? Am I evil? Is this evil? Like all these years, only to find out that I am what I'm God's best kept secret. It's a gift and a curse when you know you can help people, but God is giving you special instructions to do things a specific way. Yes, I can come back online and do tarot, but I can make all the videos that I've ever uploaded public from 2016, and you can go on any of the YouTuber tarot readers page and listen to their language, and then look at when they first started uploading their videos and compare their language to mine. A lot of these tarot readers are frauds. Okay, they're tapping into something very dark and demonic. They're trying to be something they're not. And a lot of them, I'm going to say 80% of them are not. No, 85% of them do not have the authority to operate in the fashion in which they're operating. Everybody's got to pay. Everybody. For trying to be something that they're not. Whether or not you think you're helping somebody, if it is not in God's will, if you're not doing what the Most High has asked you to do, you got hell to pay. And if you think you are, then so be it. Judgment Day hasn't arrived yet, but it's coming. I say being anybody. There was this one hell of five reader, and she is a blessing, and she disappeared just like I did. And I don't know what happened to her. I hope she's okay. She's from Louisiana. She was the truth as well. But it's sad. It's sad because people will try to exploit you. People will try to mimic you, mock you. Everybody's got to pay. There's nothing that's going on unseen, unheard, unfelt. Everybody is going to be accountable for what they think they have the authority to do and be, and who to be, and they really don't. Everybody has to pay. It's gotten so bad. I mean, even like I'm a clothing designer, and I designed this clothing. I designed when you see a name on a waistband or down the side of a leg of a sweatpant or down the arm of a t-shirt, this, that, and the other. Dolce & Gabbana was the first to steal my design, and I, as much as I wanted to fight and I had attorneys backing me, God said don't. Because what happened was I got so angry in that moment when I realized I was being stolen from. I said, God, fix it. I was so furious. I said, God, fix it. Within a week, God shut down the world. Pandemic. And that's where Beyonce gets, when she got that phrase in the song she did, World Stop, Carry On. That was, as a matter of fact, my name, anybody in New York City knows me as Diva. So when she did the song, she ain't no diva, let me see ya. Na diva is the female version of a hustler. She wasn't talking about herself. As a matter of fact, the last project she put out, she's not talking about herself. Okay? When she said, girl, I swear I'll kick it with you. Even 7-Eleven. Beyonce was not talking about herself. She's talking about somebody specific. And hi, how are you introducing me, Divine Oracle? Anyway, it's a lot. Very, very soon, I have a feeling that the Most High is going to, I already know what's getting ready to happen. I had to just put this out here I had to put this message out here for people who think they're doing the righteous thing and they're not. And anybody who has a real true gift are very conscious about taking money from people, especially if you claim that you're using the gift by way of God's divine appointment over your life. Taking money from people, and it's been like I have been in some tough places, man. Tough places where I just said, you know what? Let me go ahead and start revamping my reads and start charging people for readings, and it just and even though I specifically have authority to, I just like, I beg God, please give me something